Good morning. Hope everybody's doing well. Well, market's been a grinder, and it'll be interesting to see where today ends. It always is, right? We're stock market junkies. I say that in a fun way. Um, of course you are, Robert. So we've got the beginnings here of a breakout bar failure. And this is almost textbook out of the MTS manual. And again, we have to see, it's to be already started, but we'll see where it ends. And it's based on a minor consolidation within an uptrend, a resting period, which that's by definition what a little base is, a resting period. And yesterday I talked about how this market has been a grinder. And I mentioned how, you get these resting periods and as markets, or whether it's a stock, it's a pattern, it doesn't matter what it is. After it comes out of the resting period, it's supposed to continue to go higher or lower if it's in a downtrend. So a red bar like this should result in the next move up rather than a move down, back down to support. It's like, you just say, you ran a race, right? Let's just say we ran a race, and we sat down, grabbed some water, and it's like, okay, let's go. And we take a couple of steps, and it's like, hey, I got to sit down again. There's something wrong with you, And then, this pullback occurs and holds support, and okay, let's run. And we got to rest again. And hey, let's take a little trip home and have a sandwich and come back and let's go again. And then it's like, we're crawling like old people or something. I'm kind of like an old person now, so if anybody's old. Anyway, now prices break out. And it's like, what the hell? You need to rest again? And now prices are getting, and well, it's the beginning of the day, but trading under yesterday's inside bar. So the breakout bar failure is when there's been a rest. It breaks out. It's got what you call a minor topping tail. It's not a real topping tail because the wick is less than 50% of the candle range. And then, this isn't an inside bar, but it's a little poke above the high. So it doesn't have to be perfect picture for it to happen. And now we're trading underneath it. So now question, does it close below the breakout bar's low? So it's still in an uptrend, but it's the kind of pattern, I call it a grinder, a self-correcting uptrend. The internals continue to push up into the stratosphere. Breadth is supposed to be up here, but it's at an extreme, with this kind of move up. In other words, we've been singing this song now for over a week. Risk is rising, and there's still great looking charts out there. But, if you've been around here for a while, one of the things that I say during a time like this is accidents are going to start happening more often. What are accidents? Oh, because some good news comes out and the company, the thing tanks, that kind of thing. Or bad news comes out and it really goes down. So we know what we're dealing with here, and no way do I use the word crash. I might someday. Some people use it for marketing purposes to get attention, the big marketers out there with the big BS stories, trying to call tops and bottoms. But anyway, some kind of corrective price action is coming. It's coming. Maybe it holds off to after Christmas. I don't know. I just know that it's coming. And this this is the type of pattern that could be an initial pullback, and then, maybe it turns into an M top. Tops are really rough, historically. Bottoms are a piece of cake the majority of the time. That when we get our internal signal and we get a couple of, bottoming candles or breakdown failures, and we're done, and then things start going. tops historically they're just sons of a guns. They just don't want to give it up. And I don't blame them, but it gets frustrating when you know what's coming and it doesn't. And it's just this, especially this kind of a grind like this. But all right, let's continue. So we've got, here's the breakout above here. Good morning, Gustavo. And, the move under some support. This next area of support is directly below. So now what we'll be looking for this morning to see, well, does it pop up? Does it make, the next lower high? The closer that it creates the void that we talk about, the greater the potential for a more meaningful move. And things can happen in different ways. So we've got this consolidation. We've got the move up. And so far, it looks like, the deterioration that's occurring. It hit this support. And always look to the left. You don't need any of this to find support or resistance. That's the hocus pocus marketing stuff out there. And so now, if we get a little more of that, look, void can be created with momentum moves. And this isn't any kind of a momentum move because it's sideways. But notice just this part of it is a momentum move. And that's really subtle as far as saying, I look at that the other day and I'm like, that really didn't catch my eye as something to say, okay, momentum move creating void, because it didn't. Support's right down here. But it's another example of big rest, a move up, and you come all the way back down to the base. Really? You that tired after this? And now, this is really just a picture of distribution. So as time goes on, right, you have time can create a void as it moves away from these reference points. And in addition to that, like remember in the green room, I showed you that NQ trade, that things had topped out and come down to support and formed that little head and shoulders bottom and repairing the damage. And so that pattern was able to get prices to go up until it got late in the day and they just couldn't start flying. But anyway, the point was in this instance, it's like different patterns can begin to negate what's to the left. And so this support that you might look at here and say, oh, here's all this support. Well, it was used once. It was used here. And now these little pivot lows are kind of playing on this, and that failed. So at this point, maybe it did pop up a little bit, but the time factor here is increasing the size of what's below. And here's this momentum move that, look, after all of this, it's unlikely this is going to save the day. That's my perception of this price action. So we'll see where this all evolves into today. So here's 3,600 where this big pivot low is down here. And if we continue with this analysis that, let's see if it actually follows through. But if it does, clearly this chart is going to take on a very different look. 3650, 60 still looks good to you. 3650, 60. Okay, here. Well, let's see, McGraw. All right, so some of you in the green room know, and McGraw has shared some of this analysis of gamma analysis, which I've read it. Seems a little bit. I know what you sent us, the charts and stuff. Maybe I didn't read everything that thoroughly of what it's all based on, trader. But I know what's out there on the dark edge of brain damage. But if we can utilize this in the room with some of our trades as to, it really making sense, I can see this area. Let's clear this up here. I can see this area right here, which is, basically in the area of what you're talking about based on gamma rays, whatever. I'm making a joke with you. But you can see the alignment of that. And so let's see what happens if it gets down here. I'm suggesting, based on the price action, that if this does this and eventually gets here, it may stall, and then it's going to break. Right? Well, we know 3,600 strong support because it's got this bottoming tail there. But let's see. Now, let's add some price action to that. Now, we always look at, okay, we might say, well, this bottoming tail bar and this bottoming tail bar in other markets is a strong reference point as well. But what if it came down there today? And I'm just throwing things out there because we're having a discussion here and for education. But what if it came down to there today like this? Boom. Versus so price action tells us a lot about, well, we look at something as a destination or what we call support or resistance. And the other side of that is, well, how did it get to its destination? It can imply much more different outcome as to what happens at that destination. All right, let's continue. Let's see if there's any other failure type of patterns. Qs. No failure pattern there. Inside bar. But we'll be keeping an eye on this. There's a lot of support over here. There was some crazy price action in some of those FANG stocks yesterday coming out of the blocks, then kind of meandering around in the afternoon. And I'm glad you guys are having fun. I think we should have fun, right? Every day we have some fun. So this is going to be a pretty important point, yesterday's low, because it's all lined up with these bars right here. And if it takes that out, look out below. Still an uptrend, benefit of the doubt. Let's see what it can do. And YM. Just continually just a grind with this one. Slowing momentum, but it just doesn't give it up. Look, and here's another red bar right next to the highs here. It's just a grind. It's just a grind. And what are these? You know what? I make jokes at them because these guys that connect the dots and draw these diagonal lines, it's really a joke. But man, what are they going to do? They're going to connect this. And now they're going to call it a top if it breaks that trend line. It's really ridiculous. I think those guys would give up that kind of novice analysis. It really is foolish. What are they drawing this? And now wondering, oh, what happened? Oh, it's probably exactly what they're doing. Connecting this and saying, oh, the bottom of that line is resistance. Yes. All right. So another stall action there. And good morning, Roger. Got to get up a little earlier. Being a drill sergeant now. Nice breakout. Not really an inside bar, no damage done. Right, we got our 50% line. We'll see if this stays in the top of the range there. It's chopping around, little topping pattern. Right here, you got a momentum move. There's the bar. Here's this chop, and so now a break below there is likely to drive it all the way back down. We'll be keeping an eye on this today. So you can have a higher time frame in an uptrend and still fade or go against that as a day trader, knowing you're going against the power here under the proper scenario. And bonds are up here because markets are down a bit, popping up. Just a mess, still holding that support. Oil's down a little bit, slowing momentum. See the distance between the highs here. Gold coming up again. Nice retracement. I told you those kind of sell setups typically do not work, or they're low odds. I told you last week and this week, sell setups that begin from a wide range bar are low odds. Downtrend. You see it triggered and it failed. Now it's coming up to the next resistance area. And, I was bullish on this turning around, and it didn't hold that day. And if this turns out to be a shakeout, there's going to be a monster trade in gold coming. It's going to take a while. So, transports. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to clear the high or whatever. It's still in an uptrend. Something I wanted to share with you guys and you people on YouTube, because someone made a comment in the chat room. I think it was last week. And the comment was like, Dan and Greg are the best thing out there on the internet. Real education. These guys really do it. Touting our, accolades and so on and so forth. And that was led with, but you know what? I see these other guys on YouTube that dwarf the followers you have or who's listening to you guys. And it's really disturbing because all these guys, you eventually find out that these guys are full of BS and, marketing liars. But they're telling people what they want to hear. They're playing on people and taking their money with giant lies. Well, two of them, big trouble. Two of these guys that they go out there and they get somebody to get them to sit in a plane and make like they're billionaires and telling people you can do all this too. Well, they're in deep doo-doo, right? And this website when I show it to you because it's very popular. The Federal Trade Commission sued them and the co-founders, and they are going to court. So if you have any friends or family that are aware of this site, let them know that these charlatans, maybe you see them, with handcuffs on, getting walked into the jail or the courtroom, and they're going to pay for the misleading garbage that they throw out there and taking people's money and ruining their lives. Anyway, that's enough for me. All yours, Dan.
No, sounds good. Keep going.
Me and my soapboxes when I get on them.
Well, but you know what, Greg, over the last 2 decades, I used to get so mad when I would hear just misleading advertising out there. And, the classic one is, here, take these pills and, lose weight. You don't have to exercise, eat whatever the heck you want. Yeah. And then, it applies to every industry, but that's horrible in ours too. And then I finally just got to the point of in me, instead of getting mad, I'm like, if you really believe this, then you know what? Then you all are meant for each other. So have a good time. And I stopped getting mad over it, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah. I know they're all out there, touting all the big money or, the one out there, trade my money, and all the rest. But, anyway,
F slide, Jake.
Beware.
Jake, if it's under last week's low, it might be okay. Just a warning is I don't like the big tail yesterday. I would recommend waiting till it takes out yesterday's high. All our opens are fine. Like I mentioned, we have an Apple directional and a put spread. Look at that beautiful pre-market 15-minute chart. That is a sign of beautifulness. Wide range bar, little buy setup in the upper third after clearing resistance, price void. Netflix, we did a put spread. Yeah, we have 2 trades on it, Jake, and the 2 different letters. Netflix, we did a put spread. The only, I see we have a put spread on CMG and my minder shows it down $20, which I don't see any prints here, so I just don't believe it. And the only other problem, well, we have no problems. The only problem I see is LOW. Had this reversal yesterday. I mean, I had to look for short setups over the weekend because everything looked so bullish. And that had a bullish reversal, which bar by bar analysis, danger. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, Scott, right now. So that was danger, and I actually came to the market thinking I was going to move the stop to yesterday's high, gapping up here a little bit to resistance. Our stop is still over 153 and change, so we're just going to let that one play out. Actually, this one's going against us too, Uber, but we've been in this for a while. Here, I don't know if I gave it to you all. I put it in Telegram, but we sold a third of Uber for a $3 gain. So I just tightened the stop here under $52 just to lock in the gains if it does want to sell off more. Let's go to gappers here. Tesla gapping down. They're going to raise $5 billion of funds. And I say more power to you. You know, you're at all-time highs. And I heard somebody on CNBC saying that Tesla has a $600 billion valuation. Can you believe that? Now, I'm sure a lot of those guys like, you know, just throwing out fun things saying that that's more than, you know, they'll list 20 companies combined. But yeah, they, you know, I don't know what Ford and GM and Toyota are, but I'm sure it is. I'm sure Tesla dwarfs all of those combined. UAA, yeah, over the high. Yeah, somebody asked me yesterday, I think, or somebody emailed me. I think it was Sam. UAA over the highs. Yeah, it's bullish consolidation and an uptrend. I like it. Yeah. Home Depot. Well, I mean, Home Depot is weak. I mean, that was one of the reasons that made me look at low also. But this one's a fluid move down. So, you know, we couldn't get on board yesterday. But that's a topping pattern. That's topping on weekly, monthly. If you were in that as a core trade, I surely would be tightening my stops. Meet success criteria. All right, so are they ripping? Well, Myrna, I did see up $5. Yeah, Myrna, that's a bullish pre-market right there. Look, gapping over yesterday's high, going sideways, breaking out. That might give you a day trade. Pfizer. Come on, charts. That's a bullish pre-market. Yep. YouTube's asking about JP Morgan. Good. Oh, no, it's not JP Morgan. Good morning, MP. MP, it's extended as a swing. Look how far it is from the 20, but it's a beautiful 15-minute chart. So, hey, Jake, Jake, you know, sometimes you give me extended things, and I'm like, what do you want me to do with it? But I caveat that with, well, give me a bullish 15-minute chart, and then I'm all for it. So here we had a breakdown failure yesterday. Breakout, bullish close right there. And now it's a bullish pre-market. So for a day trade, maybe, I don't know, you got to put it in a window and see what happens, but maybe 10-minute high. As long as this bullish pre-market chart holds, then it looks good. Echo Hotel. wide range igniting yesterday, but now pre-market, it's too extended. Look, it's vertical. It's vertical. Aurora here has just been on my list for a while. It's in the EV market, and they're making these turns. And, you know, I think on the monthly it could go to 15. But POWW, I don't know what they do, but it's a gap breakout coming in. It's too sloppy for me, but it might. Look at this Lazar. I put it in my list as a possible day trade gap and crap. Far from the 20, gapping up, although the 15-minute chart is still bullish. So it's not a tier 1 short on my list. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it runs to 50, 55 bucks before it slows down. But the daily is saying that it's, wow, look at these runs some of these things have done. Look at this. The 20 MA is at 1075. 4 days later, it's 16 bucks. SMAR had earnings, gap in all-time highs. The gap's too big. Coup, bullish gap. We can watch that on a pullback. HQY. Small little head and shoulders breakdown up here, but no great pattern. GTE, a penny stock, no interest. KC had earnings. That's a big mess. This gap's too big. Bearish gap, no interest. No pattern. GIII. Let's see, compare this one to UAA. This one's up